I'll get you last.
And I'll go get water.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the zoo. The minions with me tonight are Useless.
Hello, how goes it?
Cryptic.
Hello.
Still in that awkward gray zone, JenTMaxi.
Hello.
And if he's back from grabbing his glass of water, the traveling exhibit, Snowpilot.
I am, in fact, here. Now I will go get liquid refreshment.
And, of course, I'm the keeper for the night, Sanguine. And I say, of course, though there is a schedule change coming up, just to make sure that everyone does remember this is happening in the next couple weeks, I believe. It might be as many as 3, but I think we're currently looking at
2
or so. It might be slightly less. I'm not 100% sure. There will be a schedule change where it will no longer be Sanguine Wednesdays. It will end up being the One-Ton Hammer. One of our original, in fact, our very first keeper is going to be returning as a scheduled weekly keeper. And he's going to be doing a slightly different show, which is going to be with Terry Diamantis, who I see in chat. Hello, Terry. And he's currently quoting a fantastic comedian in there with his ahoy hoy. And JenTMaxi as his co-host. That will be just the 3 of them, rather than them inviting other people. Though they will occasionally have a guest, from what I hear. It's just most of the time going to be the 3. Thursdays, with Prospero having stepped down from being a scheduled weekly keeper last week, will now become the wild card day. And when Wednesday is handed off to the One-Ton Hammer, Fridays will be my day. That's right, Fridays with Sanguine. What sort of madness will that entail? Well, you guys should know me fairly well by now. So
same
that's
shit,
something
different
to
time.
look forward
Don't
to,
tell your
right?
cardiologist.
But yes, so again, that will be schedule change of One-Ton Hammer Wednesdays, Wild Card Thursdays, and Sanguine Fridays. I will again be repeating this at the end of the show just to make sure that everyone hears it and bears this in mind when that Wednesday comes and it is not me greeting you for the show. But how are all of you guys doing tonight?
Yeah, laughing, kicking.
Always better than the alternative.
Nice. We're on the side of the green stuff, so yay.
Yep.
I tried to make butter cookies today, but it was hot, so it was just a mess.
I'm sorry, did you just say butt cookies today?
Butter cookies.
Okay.
But it was too hot, so it was just a mess everywhere. So.
Though making butt cookies when it's too hot also becomes a bit of a mess. That kind of reminds me of...
Yeah.
You've heard the one about the lawyer who had diarrhea? He thought he was melting. But
that's an asinine joke.
Yeah.
It's kind of extruding. Well, I was gonna do a chain of like poop joke, but sorry.
Gotcha.
Right.
I just work here.
I think we're going to need to get the waste disposal unit to come in and take care of those jokes, Cryptic. Those were just awful. They should be flushed down, is what I'm saying.
It's okay.
You
It's
saw
a
the button.
compost.
And
In the words of Arthur, you should seek Jesus.
nice.
I write an essay to Jesus every day. So
So, does anyone have anything that they did today that they found particularly enjoyable and want to share? Anything that pissed you off to no end and you feel like you need to get it off your chest before you explode in an incandescent rage? Or just anything that amuses you?
oh, I have plenty of rage.
Oh,
Oh, God.
this is
Cryptic
all
rage. Everybody buckle up.
Let's kick this big then.
All right. You all know I'm an engineer, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. let's put it this way. We're doing a start of a something called a dewatering building, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's taking the sludge and making it dry so that you can make fertilizer out of them.
Mm-hmm.
A contractor came and he was supposed to get the system, their system up so we can run the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fucker didn't bring a laptop.
Nice.
God.
So I'm sitting there going, y'all. So I looked through the program that they sent me, and like, y'all program is wrong. They said, what do you mean your program is wrong? It's like, your network connection is incorrect. I had a subcontractor do the first download. Then I found out, oh, y'all missing something else. The contractor left. So I'm sitting here getting yelled at by the fucking basically the company that was hired to be the what you call project manager, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're blaming me for that shit. I'm like, motherfucker, I ain't controlling your goddamn the vendor PLC. I control the PLC that's the PLC that's talking to that equipment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting yelled at and blah 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 and the whole fucking time, and I'm sitting there coordinating like communication between 5 different vendors, trying to have them talk to each other. That's not my job. That's not my job. And I'm getting cursed at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Sanguine, we got an issue in chat.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'll quickly
Slow
signal some additional support. Let me.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on a second. But to finish the story, like I basically had to fucking coordinate all that shit. And it was a horrendous day for me. So, it was not fun time for me at all. Holy shit! How many of these motherfuckers?
Oh God, we're gonna do this shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just called in some support. So
I'll leave out of it. I'll let you guys handle it.
we'll have that pop in here in a moment, and I'm going to also be waiting in and dealing with this shit. So you guys continue talking amongst yourselves.
Yeah. So the whole problem was like I have to coordinate all this shit, right? And I get yelled at, right, for not getting the job done. It's not my job. Like literally, it's not in my contract. And I'm getting reamed left and right, and I'm getting thrown under the bus. And my boss is not gonna. He's not gonna back me up because he's wanting the shit to get done and over with.
Wow.
And Kefki, yes, you may ban people.
You may ban.
Yes, please.
Get him, Kefkers. Get him.
You know,
Kefki, ban them all.
You know, I get it. It's hot. You guys are lonely. I mean, you could do other things like go fuck or something, but no, you're gonna come on here with the old people and be like, "We're really cool. We got nothing better to do." I remember back in the day when drugs were cool. You guys should go do drugs, you know, and then go out and actually do fun shit.
By playing the highway.
But
you know, I actually had a lot of good memories about that, in appreciation for the fact that we didn't grow up with cell phones. You guys know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
All the shit you were not supposed to do that was kind of low key, maybe a little bit illegal, but you did it anyway, like steal signs or go into places you weren't supposed to and throw rocks and shit like that. That's what I would do. But no, you guys come onto like random like streams and like this is what you do with your time.
But yes, let's continue having
Your life
a proper show and not give them.
The mods will handle all that. I'm pretty sure that they're good at that.
Kefki, kill. Get him.
But the thing is, like, you know, it's just like being told like you have to do this and this and that, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And not having to support your boss, that's the thing that pisses me off the most.
Yeah, when your boss is the one who should be able to go, okay, this is what the fuck is happening. And be able to see what the issue is rather than just going, okay, we're going to immediately side with the people that it should automatically be obvious that, nope, not fucking right. You're starting shit and just ignore them. That isn't what's happening. And it always pisses me off when an employer fails to back their employees properly.
Yeah.
And do you have more that you would like to get off your chest, Cryptic?
Yes.
Or was that the main thing?
Well, another thing is like, I'm training like multiple new employees, right? Because my boss decided to fucking replace new employees, right? I mean, the departing employees, I'm sorry, with new employees. So we need new people to put on the resume and like contract a proposal, right? So now I have to. Now I'm literally having to fucking train new people and do my job at the same time and make it work.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's fucking impossible, like for me to do my job and train new people.
Yeah.
May I suggest something?
Going for the slow, is that what you're about to suggest?
You know, the one good thing about this is you're getting all the views tonight.
Yeah.
The views are fantastic when it comes to that.
I mean, if you had enough, like, actual subscriptions from people to make this worth money, you guys would be actually giving us a lot of money right now. Well, not really, but for us, maybe.
You'd certainly be giving Susan a lot of money.
You'd be giving Sanguine one full free pack of gum.
Right?
I would suggest that you restart this stream because these people aren't stopping.
They'll go away eventually.
I'd let them keep going.
It'll go away.
Yeah,
They'll
they'll
get
get
more
people.
If you really wanted to do us a favor, you'd spam us out everywhere so we could go for like a full pack of smokes. Let's up the game a little bit.
Yeah, they'll jizz and and go
Let's
to sleep.
let's do a little bit of hawking here. And if you get us high enough, you can even start spamming us with actual money. Somebody will actually get chats out of you. It'd be great. It'd be like $5. I could be like that one lady on Twitch. Be like, $5.
$5 foot long.
$5, you stupid fuckers. Oh, I wish that worked. I wish that worked for me in real life. Well, no, I actually don't, because that would make me a hoe. But yeah, sorry. I don't judge. I really shouldn't. I mean, it's just me. I'm a single lady, so I mean, I don't really feel the need to hawk myself out anywhere. But if you guys want to go and give me $5, you're more than welcome to.
and she's Canadian, so $5 US goes a long way up there right now.
Yeah, I think that's like $6 whole.
Just about, yeah.
This is you know what? Y'all have a good yeah. No,
like I said, let's not give them the attention that they so desperately desire.
Oh, you're not wrong.
fine.
I mean, if they're not giving me money, then you're not wrong. I'm kidding. I'm being an ass.
No, it's for me. It's more like it's annoying for the people that are actually want to engage. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like being in elementary school but with adults. But there's that one adult who's just still like, meh! Sorry.
You mean like the Ohio State House this week?
Yeah, the Democrats fucking going nuts, right? For like a common sense law.
On that note, I gotta look that up. I found a toy watch in my closet that might have been a Rugrats thing that I got from McDonald's, and I know it's probably worth bullshit, but it still works. And I'm like, maybe I should go on eBay.
So look, I don't care them being douchebags, but the shit they're saying it can shut down because of.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, I've been trying to report them for it. I've been trying to report them for it, but
the people doing this don't just hide. Don't just time out.
I'm doing all of it. So.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Report and ban. Don't just give them a couple minutes in timeout. That won't do anything.
Yeah, my problem is because the shit they do, it's because of YouTube's fucking stupid algorithm. The shit that people say in chat, they can ban you for it for some odd reason, even after you fucking silence them. So it's more for the channel's health than anything else to keep them off.
But yeah, so
Okay,
What
then
have you
don't
done?
go anywhere. But if you're gonna stay, then at least give me $5. I feel like I've been cheated.
like I said, don't let it spoil the show. Let's continue on.
Yeah. I apologize. Okay, but have y'all heard? I know it's been. I'm a football fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
You saw the NFL's fucking. Little,
I tried desperately to avoid it. I heard about it and went, nope, my blood pressure cannot take this.
Football's gay, by the way. And you know my response. What does it have to do with anything? It's football. It's football. You know, I don't care what your sexuality is, your national, whatever.
You know,
If you know how to play football, you play football.
yeah. Sorry, it's just this thing this guy is saying. You could get banned for odd reasons, and his name's Balls. And I'm just like, I feel like that's what TJ Kirk did when he was like, yeah, man, you're never going to find the size of my penis online. And then now I've got this image of this guy with really small, wrinkly balls. Don't think they won't find it. Poor Jen is like that. Don't put those out there.
Jen?
Just continue. Stop and just continue. So
I want to see wrinkly balls now.
Why? I know you're a single chick, but come on.
She's thirsty, that's all.
No.
Pornhub is a thing.
but yeah. So you were saying, Cryptic.
So the NFL is trying to go woke, right?
Mhm.
They lost a good percentage of the audience because the whole kneeling thing before, right?
Mhm.
What I don't understand is all these corporations losing fucking goddamn viewers left and right, tens of millions, right? And still doing the same shit they're doing. But I realized one thing: they all hired the same goddamn PR company, each one of them. And each one of them tells them, like, oh, wokeness is what is going to get you your audience. Like, no, you don't realize half your goddamn audience is the people that are patriotic Americans or patriotic Canadians, whatever.
And probably 80% of what's left just
Right,
want to
and-
watch fucking football.
Right, and those people spend the money, not the fucking woke people. And it's just
It's
these
just the
people
woke folks are very, very loud.
Yes, they are.
But you gotta cater to the loud people, the mob, because they're the right ones.
Well, the correct response is one monkey has been pushing for many years. It's a rolled up newspaper to the nose, with a resounding no.
Mhm. Yeah.
It works great.
Yeah.
The problem is that when you have certain groups like the national sports leagues, they actually have an enforced monopoly. They have laws on the books that allow them to do what they do, that allow them to be the only game in town. And when you have that, it becomes an absolute son of a bitch to deal with it. The way it should be dealt with. There we go. That's the way I want the words. Is it should be that those laws are pulled. That suddenly their restrictions that prevent anyone else from popping up are removed. Let them have to deal with a open market. Let them see what the hell's going on. And when they do that, they'll see, oh, insulting everyone that follows us is a really bad idea. Because then we lose our goddamn market. And if we lose our market, there's no one that's going to pay us.
Yep.
Yeah, the thing about people don't realize is like, you can be woke all you fuck you feel like, right? The other half of the country does like sports also. When you alienate the other half of your fucking society, you're doing something wrong, right?
Well, what did Jordan say back in the 90s? Republicans buy shoes too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, the reason why people watch sports and all that shit is to get away from politics. And these idiots are doing politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not just that. It was one of those things where with sports, people could come together on sports where they might not necessarily come together on other topics. You know, you have different views, but still cheer for the same team and still be fucking American.
But even then, even if there were rivalries, right? They were, with a few exceptions, fairly friendly, almost sibling rivalries. Just stay your ass out of Hartford when the Giants are playing the Patriots. That's bad time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or stay out of Chicago when the Bears are playing the Packers. Not a good time.
You just stay out of Chicago, period.
Well, that too, yes, but
it is just infuriating when especially when it's the groups that they have a legal monopoly.
Mm-hmm.
Legal monopolies are something that should never fucking exist. The only way that a monopoly should ever form is if it is the best business and it is just out competing everyone on an entirely level playing field. This is a problem that we had back when everyone knows what the robber barons are, right?
Maybe.
Okay, the robber barons were extremely wealthy men from the turn of the century. I say men because pretty much all of them were men. And they all developed a fantastic amount of wealth to the point where pretty much all their companies are still in existence and their names are fucking everywhere. A shit ton of them are the reason why we kind of have a middle class, because they did shit like, how many of you are familiar with a Carnegie Library in your area?
I am not, but please enlighten me, please.
John Carnegie was
Andrew Carnegie.
Oh, sorry, Andrew. Yeah, it was Andrew Carnegie.
It was John Rockefeller.
Yes. I always want to combine those names in interesting fashions. Andrew Carnegie was a businessman who made an absolute fucking killing. Ridiculous businessman. And he spent a shit ton of his money and bequeathed a fuck ton more to education, free public libraries that were funded by him.
There's a university out there.
Universities. And just all kinds of other ridiculous shit. So he started pushing through those. Now there's a fuck ton of libraries all up and down the east coast of America and scattered throughout America that are Carnegie libraries. You have J.P. Morgan, who, I shit you not, single-handedly, effectively, stopped a depression because he was looking at the market, and this is unfortunately why we have the Fed how it's currently set up, because the government went, well, we're going to try to do the same, and they've never been able to.
Nope.
He was watching the market because he was very interested in the market, being a self-made insanely rich man. He was a millionaire, and I think he might have almost been billionaire at his richest.
At the time, mind you. So add a few zeros for today's money.
Yeah, I was just about to say, if you scale that amount of money that he had, he is handily the richest man to have ever lived in America, effectively.
So what, he was richer before Bill Gates was?
Bill Gates would look at J.P. Morgan and go cry in a corner.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, the man almost single-handedly, I say almost, because he was the one who got the group together that actually did it, and he was the one who threw the bulk of the money. He recognized that the market was going into a downturn because everything was built up into a bubble that was about to burst. And he realized that he could do nothing. And he would stay insanely wealthy. Everyone else would be fucked over. Or he could get all of the other insanely rich people that he knew. Carnegie, fucking Rockefeller, and like 12 others. And he could throw his money and all their money into flipping the market. Taking it from a point where, yeah, these industries are going to die because the bubble's about to burst. And it's going to fuck over a massive amount of the economy. Or they could throw their money in. They could get the businesses that could work but were going to fail because of the situation, and keep them alive, keeping also American manufacturing alive and well. And it was enough that he actually stopped a depression. He stopped a depression that was shortly before the Great Depression and would have been worse than the Great Depression. At least there's some people that say it might have been worse. That's always somewhat sketchy when you're trying to say, well, this could have been worse, but it was a massive chunk of the economy was about to just go completely to shit, and they threw their money into it. They turned the economy around. They got it working again. And boom. Done. Beautiful. Absolutely sexy. He was able to get the economy to come back up and running. It put him in a bit better of a financial situation because shortly before this, he had been threatened with a monopoly violation. And one of the major things that was about to die was about a third of the United States rail companies were about to die. And it would have completely isolated Eastern Rail and Western Rail. Because there's effectively the middle America rail. The midsection of America was about to die. And he bought it. He had already owned the other two. So, because it was a recession, he got to improve himself. So that was a bit of selfishness, but it was selfishness that actually benefited everyone else. And that's the thing. When you're talking about... People always want to make the Gordon Gekko from the movie sound ridiculously evil when he says greed is good. Because they think greed where it is completely unthinking greed. No. If you have greed that is actually thinking through, greed is actually good.
Well, if you greed harms other people to get it, you know.
That's where it falls apart. When you're talking about greed that is not actually thinking through the situation. Because if you're greedy and you're ruining a large chunk of the population in order to get what you want now as quickly as you can, yeah, that's fucked. It won't work. It will just completely crap out on you. What you need to do is you need to realize the long game. Because if more people are able to pay for your product, you're able to sell more of your product. Yeah. So you do what Ford did. Ford is often credited with the creation of the middle class in America. Because Ford wanted the best factory workers that he could get. He wanted the best designers that he could get. He wanted more people able to buy his product. So what he did was he increased the pay of everyone that worked for him. He increased the benefits for the people that worked for him. He set up different things in order to help everyone in the areas that he worked in. He, again, was one of those people that he started funding a ridiculous amount of libraries and universities and shit like that, because he went, okay, if I invest in this now, yes, that cuts into my earnings right now. But in 5 years, I'm going to be making money hand over fist. Because I will have the most efficient workers because I paid for the best. I will have the best machinery because I paid for the people to design the best machinery. I'll have people that are actually able to buy my goddamn cars because they're earning enough and because I'm causing other companies to have to compete against mine.
Well, plus, he sold them pretty cheap too at the time.
Yep, he sold them cheap enough that he could get the greatest number of people buying them.
Well, he changed the way cars were built because at the time you had a coach. No, it wasn't even that, because you had assembly lines for other people, even Rolls-Royce used assembly lines. Okay. The problem was you had the chassis and the drivetrain going down the assembly line, and then the body came from a coach builder, completely different company. And you weren't paying for the frame and the engine; you were paying for this lovely hand-built coach work. And Ford was like, "Fuck that noise! 10, bang it out, put it on, good enough, out it goes." And it was good enough. It was a reliable car. It was easy to manufacture. You could have it in any color as long as it was black. His words, not mine.
Yep. But
and it was easy enough to learn to drive. Some of these other cars were horrifically complex and needed 6 arms to drive the dang thing. Once you figured out the clutch was not actually a clutch, then you were good.
And JB, it is greed, because thinking through it that way, it's a matter of I could go for the maximum greed right now. That isn't the actual winning answer in the situation. That will earn you a fuck ton of money right now, but it kills your profits later. So you have much lower long-term profits than you do for short-term profits. If you think, or you have much lower long-term, but you have enormous short-term. If you think ahead and you go, okay, how do I make it so that more people buy my cars longer into the future? You maximize long-term profits. And yeah, your short-term profits won't be anywhere near as nice, but you can only fuck over so many people before you realize, oh, I just made it so that no one's able to buy my shit.
There's no when did you with that what was it, that age medicine that you jet the price up to, I guess?
Yeah, if you keep on jacking up the price, and this is something that you see constantly in a bunch of different businesses. It happens a hell of a lot when it comes to restaurants.
Yeah, food.
Restaurants that start to have a bit of problem because they aren't getting enough people coming in and buying their food tend to start a fatal spiral. Because what they do is they'll increase the price. When they increase the price, fewer people are willing to buy their food, and the people that are still willing to buy their food are willing to buy it less often.
Yep.
So they end up in very short window. Yeah, they'll get more money, because for every meal they get more money. But over time, you're fucked, because as you keep increasing the price, fewer people come in, and also people are less willing to come back because can you believe they sold that fucking plate of slop for $30?
Yeah.
I remember when that was a $10 sandwich. Now it's fucking 30. What the fuck is wrong with this place? So you've destroyed your reputation. You've completely gutted your clientele. What should motivate a savvy business strategy is you need long-term greed, not short-term greed. Because when people start a business, a good chunk of the motivation is, and I'll have money.
Well, have you seen that video of the guy in the street corner with a stack of candy bars and gold bars, hand them out free? You can get a candy bar or a gold bar, what you want, and everybody picks the candy bar because it's instant gratification, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the problem, I think. It's the gratification part, you know? They want it quick and instant, you know?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it is this constant thing. It's the instant gratification versus being able to delay gratification. And when you look at people that are able to delay gratification, those are the people that are most likely to have the best long-term outcome. The problem is that we're becoming ever more likely to go for instant gratification. And that's not just Joe Schmo from Idaho. That seems to be at almost every fucking section of society.
Yeah.
We do have exceptions because we do have people that are fantastically wealthy and are still going, let's see. So, going to quickly do something because I just got word.
Yeah.
Because apparently Prospero is vouching for Lothiel. So, there you go. But when it comes to making decisions, you have some people that are able to space it off. You have Elon Musk is one of the ones that comes to mind as a delayed gratification sort. Because he is willing to think about the future. In fact, that's pretty much the entirety of what the fuck he does. He earned a ridiculous amount of money and he went, okay, I'm going to start a company that does this. So I started a company, earned some money. I'm going to start another company that does this. And all of them are looking towards a future project. When he started the Boring Company, a shit ton of that was, we're going to develop tech in the Boring Company that I want to fucking colonize Mars. We're going to need tech in order to make areas where people can live on Mars.
Well, did you see Bourne's company flamethrower they made?
Say again?
The Bourne's company flamethrower they made?
Yes. Not a flamethrower.
Yeah, I know. Just this little...
Well, that was the official name of it. It was the not a flamethrower. Yeah. But he did that. And then the Tesla cars and the batteries that he got from that was also hey, we need a more efficient storage technique. And it would be good if we got away from fossil fuels.
Yeah.
I want to make a electric car that is viable at a bunch of different price tags. Well, it'll start with an expensive one, but I want to make a bunch that are cheaper than that.
You know that the combustion engine is very inefficient energy source, as it is. It wastes a lot of energy.
Right, so. But at the same time, you have the ability to instantly refuel it. The thing with electric cars is, okay, say, for whatever reason, I had a Tesla, and I wanted to drive to Florida to visit my folks. I can't get there in one day.
Well, yeah.
Physically impossible to get there in one day. Gas engine? Sure I can. 10 hours. Well, actually not 10 hours. That's flying. But about 16 hours, I'm there. Done. And that's the thing. there is a place for the electric car, and Elon has recognized that. As you will see a lot of Teslas in suburbia where you have a place to store the damn thing, and people can afford it.
Yeah.
As he builds the technology, batteries get better, batteries get more energy dense, they get lighter. Now the range increases. You can keep the same price point and you can live farther away, or you can reduce the price point and sell more of them.
Yeah.
Either way, people want to buy the product.
Yep. And like I said, at every step, he's kind of thinking, okay, I want to do X. How can I do X? And he'll start up companies just to develop a means of doing that aspect. So, like I said, when it comes to electric cars, the biggest failing that electric cars had was the amount of charge that you could get in the battery, so the efficiency of the battery, how long it took to charge the battery, which is charging efficiency, another sort of efficiency, and how difficult it was to manufacture the battery.
Yeah. You guys got on the weight of the battery too. Consideration.
The weight of the battery has to be factored in as well. Yeah. So what did he start doing? He dumped a fuck ton of money into, let's increase the amount of power that we can store in a battery of X size and X weight. And let's increase the charging efficiency. And when he dumped money into that, look how far the electronic car battery tech has been driven forward from just fucking 8 years ago.
You can put in houses now too, so you know.
Yeah.
So.
And he also had the, hey, I want to have a rocket that can do a takeoff and vertical landing. I want it reusable. And boom, he dumps money into that bit of research. What does he now have? A rocket that does vertical takeoff and landing. He made a reusable VTOL rocket.
I should just make it electric and he's good, you know.
No offense.
Well, yeah.
Was that cryptic?
No offense. The biggest hurdle of electric cars is range. It's not anything else. It's range. So I want to be able to drive from here to California and refuel twice or once, right?
Yep.
In order for me to get to California now, it takes about 5 to 6 charging stations and out of my way. So electric cars have the issues of range.
This was actually brought up on an episode of Top Gear years ago when James May looked at the hydrogen car that was being demoed in California.
Yep.
Because it solved that key problem. It was a car that you drove from point A to point B, refueled at point B, and kept going without sitting there for 6.5 hours while your battery's recharged. It was exactly like the cars that we drive today. It just used a different fuel. And nobody has dumped money into that. They have dumped money into batteries. And the Tesla batteries are fucking amazing.
Well, the problem with the hydrogen, it puts off water vapor, and the number one greenhouse gas is water vapor. So, you know.
I thought it was cow farts.
No, it's water vapor.
Well, it's... So the one that is in the highest concentration is water vapor. The one that traps the greatest amount of energy that is in a sizable concentration is, as you phrased it, cow farts.
Methane.
So you have different scalings when you're talking about that. If you're talking about the one that traps, or the one that is in the greatest concentration, yeah, water vapor is one of the ones that is in the greatest concentration because we're a fucking aqueous planet, effectively.
Yeah. Well, the sun creates most water vapor anyway, so.
Well,
it evaporates water, yeah.
The biggest problem with hydrogen cars is it's going to blow up if you hit it. Explosion is the biggest problem with hydrogen cars.
Yep.
it's dangerous as fuck in a collision. So,
What's it's pressurized, right? So,
yeah, it's pressurized gas, right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a lot more dangerous in an accident than it is a normal car. So, until we solve that problem,
Yeah.
hydrogen cars are not going to be.
Well, there's also propane cars and CNG cars and all that too. But they have the same
Yeah,
issue with that compressed gas, you know.
Right,
Right,
that's why they're not common.
But the upshot with LNG and propane and things like that is they operate at a much better stoichiometric ratio, so the byproducts are significantly reduced over gas or
You
diesel.
also get less power than gasoline with propane in too.
Which for a short haul
Yeah.
a short haul municipal vehicle is not a big deal. The city
Yeah.
of Norwich, Connecticut went all propane for their city vehicles.
Well, most of these do
They're
that now,
driving
too.
around a city. Who cares?
Yeah.
And
But a lot
like
of
I
us do
said,
that too.
the thing about the range is an issue, which is why they have been increasing the amount of charge that you can stick in a battery as much as they can. But the bigger issue was currently you can have a car that doesn't get amazing gas mileage and has kind of a puny tank, but you pull over, you fuel up, you're back on the road in maybe 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So you can fuel up a bunch of times and it isn't really an issue. When you look at the Gen 1 batteries, you'd pull over after driving. I think the largest Gen 1 was able to do like 200-300 miles, something like that.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
You'd pull over and you'd have to charge it for 8 hours. And then you'd get another 200-300, and then you'd need to pull over and 8 hours. If you could get the charge time so that it was down more in line with the pull off the road for a lunch break, then they become a hell of a lot more viable.
The little GWiz was very, very popular. I think it still is very popular in London because you're driving from your apartment to your office and back. And then it's parked for 8.5 hours while you're sleeping. So it comes out in the wash. As long as you remember to plug it in when you get home, you're fine. And once somebody gets into a routine with that, it becomes a non-issue. But the big thing is going to be getting that charging time down. I forget what the current speed is for one of the supercharged stations. I want to say it's 45 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, it's about a lunch break.
Yeah.
You go shopping and you go back. You know?
Right, yeah. Or on a very long highway drive where that 45-minute break is actually a very nice safety feature. You have to get out of your car, stretch your legs, maybe catch a little cat nap, get some energy, get some food energy in you so you don't fall asleep behind the wheel. Yeah, exactly. It's a good thing. Highway range is now viable. The downside is you have to put these supercharged stations fucking everywhere.
Yep, and that's where a lot of the plowback is currently going, which is the Tesla charging stations are starting to pop up fucking everywhere as time goes. Because they're going, no, we want a national grid where you can actually drive this shit. Not just it's perfect for when you're driving from your house to your job and then back again. And you can do that every day. No, we want it to be so that you could drive from fucking New York to California in a road trip in an electric vehicle. And that's an example of that is a greedy idea when you think about it, because you're getting people to buy your vehicle. When people buy your vehicle and more people are able to buy your vehicle, you get more money. So you have the money drive, which money drive is inherently greed. But you have a long-term drive for that money. You want things as well as the money, and you want it for a long period of time, not just, I want a ridiculous pile of Scrooge McDuck money now.
I mean, we all want that, but
Yeah, but the thing is that when you're willing to actually think through and plow your shit back into your company survives for a longer period of time, and the amount of money that you make becomes a lot fucking higher. I mean, again, looking at the old school robber barons, they are given such bad goddamn press nowadays, and some of them properly deserved it, because there were really sketchy tactics being used. Like one of the people that was competing against JP Morgan was literally him and his business partner would go to the train stations that they wanted to purchase, and they would start fucking with the people using that train station. They would start fucking with the staff. They would get in fist fights with the staff. They would break shit while they were there, making it as hard to stay in business as is possible.
So, Antifa.
Effectively. JP Morgan realized this. He also wanted that station, and he went to the people that owned the station and went, okay, here's the deal. I'll pay this amount in order for it to fall under my control. You'll still be in charge of this station. You just have to kick up this amount of money to me. And also, I will personally pay for hired muscle. And they went, you'll get rid of these fuckers? Yes, I will. I get to keep my station? Yes. I just have to pay you after signing this paper? Yep, you have to pay me this amount of your profit. Okay, and by the way, that amount of your profit can change depending on how much you put back into the business. Oh, okay. Sure, I'll sign. And he got the fucking stations that this other group of rather wealthy but absolute dickheads were going after. There was the long-term approach of let's actually work towards this in the proper way. Let's plow back money. This used to be a common thing that everyone knew what the fuck it was. Do all of you know what I mean by plowback?
Oh. No.
I figure it's something not what I'm thinking, because plowback sounds like Pornhub talk.
It is not. So plowback comes from, I think it's originally an agrarian term that was co-opted by economics. So in order to go for the agrarian version of this, because it's easy to explain that way, you have a farmer. He has his field, and let's say he's growing wheat. So at the end of every harvest, he goes out, he collects all the wheat that he has, and he brings it back in. He'll take a certain percent of that wheat that he's just harvested, and he'll thresh it, take it to the mill, and get it ground into flour. He'll take another percent of it, and he'll just sell it as wheat seeds that you can eat, because wheat is edible. It's like any other fucking grain. So you can just have a bowl of wheat. And he'll take another percent, which he will earn absolutely nothing on. Because what he'll do with that is he'll collect all the wheat that he got from that section, and he'll plow his fields, and he'll stick that wheat back in the ground. Literally plowing it back. So it's things that he could sell for a profit, money that he would have otherwise, that he's putting back into his business in order to maintain it.
Well, most people think business is just print money, so they don't have to do that kind of stuff,
Yep, that's where a lot of people seem to have a fucking problem now. They don't realize that, no, you know those machines that are there? Yeah, they have maintenance. You know the people that work there? Yeah, they cost money to employ. You know the actual shit that they're... Yeah, it all costs fucking money. Plowback is the money that you put back into your business.
Yeah.
Especially money that you put back into your business to improve it. So let's say after he divides his wheat up into those 3 categories and he plows some of it back in, he then sells off the flour that he milled and takes a certain percent of that money, and he goes, hey, because we're going fairly old school agrarian at this point, my horse's shoes are getting kind of fucked. I'm going to reshoe my horse. So he spends money to have his horse reshoed. That money is also plowback, because it's money going back into the business and helping it along, improving the way that it works. Hey, my plow's getting a bit ratty. The metal on it has started to tear because of rocks. Let me buy a new plow head. Put some money back into the business. That's what plowback is. And we used to have a very common practice of a fair chunk of a business's profits were plowed back. And for a while, we even had it built into the tax code that if a certain percent of your profits were put into plowback, that those weren't included in your tax rate. So it incentivized companies to plow their money back in. It was a common fucking thing. I mean, how many times have you heard someone on the left say that the business taxes used to be much higher, and they'll often point to, I think it's Eisenhower, is the one that they like to point to.
Uh-huh.
Have you guys heard them point back to much higher corporate taxes under Eisenhower, much higher corporate taxes back 50 years ago?
Occasionally, and then somebody comes along and just smacks them and goes, shut up, you're stupid.
Yeah, the thing that they always leave off was, yeah, under Eisenhower, there was an absolutely ridiculous business tax, corporate tax rate. But the thing was that if you plowed back money into your company, that was cut by like half. If you plowed back the money into your company and you also paid your workers a certain rate, that was cut even more. If you offered benefits, that was cut even more.
Wait, you got
These
tax
are
breaks
called-
for doing things that were
Yeah,
right
these
things?
are called tax deductions. And that's
These are
why
called-
folks like Orange Man pay net so little in taxes compared to what you think he should be paying.
Yeah,
Well, for me, I think all taxes should be sales tax anyway, but that's my opinion.
these
Well.
were also what was called incentives. Because you would incentivize the company actually giving a shit. Because if they just had to pay a ridiculous tax, you have companies leave. That's what happens every time when you look at a country that suddenly goes, okay, we're going to spike the income or spike the corporate tax. A lot of their businesses go, hey, Ireland, do you still have a 0% corporate tax? Huh? Ireland, do you want a new business? And they move the fuck elsewhere. So, if you just have that massive tax, people move away. If you have a tax that looks massive, but then you go, yeah, by the way, if you do things to actually maintain your business, like make sure that your equipment's maintained, yeah, we'll knock 10% off that. Wait, you mean if I spend like 2% of my earnings on just maintaining my fucking equipment, which I should do anyways, you'll give me a 10% tax cut? Yeah. Fuck, here, I put the 2% into maintaining my equipment. Okay, here's your 10% tax cut. By the way, if you pay your workers this amount of money or higher, we'll also knock this percent off. You mean if I pay like a third of the percent that you're saying you'll knock off in order to increase the price or increase the amount that I pay people? I'll get to keep the rest of that? Yeah. Fuck, all my people earn that amount of money.
Mhm.
It's still kind of high, though. Well, if you actually invest in your local area's infrastructure by this amount of money, we'll give you twice that back. Wait, what? So I make sure that the roads aren't shit, which my business needs the roads anyway, because that's how we fucking move our product. And I get to keep more of my money. Yeah, people suddenly start doing that shit. Because
Not Geode.
given them more of a reason to do it than they already had. And they already had a good reason. Incentivize actions that you want to have happen. I don't know why this is such an insane idea to people.
Because the people are so used to, at this point, penalties, not incentives. It's do this or else. Like, what I would be saving this much money by not doing that.
Yep.
And I'm saving more than you're taking from me, so fuck you.
Yep. And when it comes to that, we also have our tax system now. I've said it before, and I'm going to continue saying it until it changes, which I don't see happening in the foreseeable future.
No.
Our tax system currently is an indirect subsidy to accountants. And what I mean by that is pretty much every tax cut that people in the top 1% that, oh my God, look how little they pay in taxes, pretty much every single one of those, you probably qualify for. The problem is, can you pay the hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars that it takes for all the accountants that you would need in order to find all those deductions?
Not really.
I sure as shit can't.
Nope.
But if you're...
Bill Gates sure as shit can.
Yeah, if you're earning Bill Gates money, and by spending that hundreds of thousands to $1 million on all those accountants, but they're then saving you tens of millions of dollars, fuck
That's
yeah,
called-
you'll pay for that shit. That's a smart investment, motherfucker.
Not just the accountants, the lawyers.
Yep.
Who you can throw in front of the IRS and go, come at me, bro.
Yeah, so the people that tend to be the most fucked over with our current tax system are those that they earn enough money that they have to pay taxes, but they don't earn enough money that the amount that they would save from hiring an accountant is less than the accountant costs. At a certain point, you start reaching a point where you can hire an accountant to do your taxes, and you will get back more money than the accountant costs.
Mm-hmm.
So you start doing that because you wouldn't want to keep more money. And the more accountants that you can pay for, the more money that you get to keep. But also the higher the cost that it is in order to maintain those accountants. So only the people that are earning the most are able to get the most, or virtually all, of the fucking tax deductions. Everyone below that doesn't goddamn know. If you really want the tax system to stop being a fucking blowjob for certain people and kicking other people in the teeth, what you do is there's two approaches that you could use. Approach one, rather than the federal government knowing the amount of money that you owe them, but not fucking telling you, because that's the thing that's a bit of a bitch, isn't it? The federal government knows how much money they expect from you, but you can't go, so how much do I owe in taxes? You have to find out. What happens if I pay too much? We keep that shit. What happens if I pay too little? We'll fucking throw you in prison, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
And still get the money from you.
And yeah, we'll still get the money from you, but you'll be in fucking prison. Fuck you. Don't you dare try to shortchange us. They could just let us know that magic number. Or, better option, because it's less prone to ridiculous goddamn corruption, you could have a simple tax system where it's, okay, everyone pays this percentage, and if you want to have a deduction here or there, you make it so that there's, let's say, 3 to 4 deductions that are possible. And you look at those 3 to 4 deductions, and let's go for things that we want to incentivize. So it would be good for society if we incentivized people having a family, right? Because if you have a full family unit, that is much more stable for society. The children are less likely to commit crime, less likely to end up impoverished, less likely to end up addicted. A lot of really good things for society if we incentivize that. So, okay, flat tax, one of the deductions is if you're married and you have children.
Sir Adam and Teen in chat. I went to school for accounting. I know how to cheat on my taxes.
Yeah.
The flat tax will probably be the most fairest tax
in the short term.
It's like I
In
said,
the short
sales
term,
tax. It's like sales tax.
So it used to be you had property tax and sales tax, and that was it. There was no income tax.
Yeah.
The income tax in this country only started because government exploded in size.
Yep.
Yes, I agree.
And property taxes and sales tax were no longer enough. And things like state lottery systems, right, didn't exist. That's why you still have Delaware, New Hampshire, and Florida where there's no state income tax.
Same with Texas.
None.
They don't have
Zero.
income tax either.
Huh?
Texas don't have income tax either.
Oh, Texas doesn't either? Okay.
No.
Yeah, there are some states that have no state income tax because they make up the balance from other means, whether it's slightly higher sales tax or higher excise taxes, your tobacco, alcohol, things like that. Or, in the case of New Hampshire, state lottery. Delaware cheats because the entire state is subsidized by DuPont.
Yep. But yeah, a flat tax would get everyone paying the amount that they should pay. And like I said, if you want to have deductions, because incentives are important. That's how you get people to do things that you like. You incentivize things that you like. You disincentivize things that you don't like. So if you want to incentivize people having properly functional families, one way of doing that, like I said, is give a moderate tax credit, a moderate deduction. So it's a flat tax that, hey, you're married, you have kids. So let's say it's, just to throw out a number so that we're working with one, let's say it's a 20% tax, just because it's a nice, round, easy number. And if you have a full family, you have a spouse and kids, then we're going to knock it down so that you're now paying 15 rather than 20.
Well, I think the family thing is a problem because of the welfare, It's since I was, single mothers and whatnot.
Yeah, that's one of the massive problems that we had. We incentivized single mothers.
Yeah.
Y'all want to hear a sad story about a single mother?
Go ahead.
So this girl I grew up, we lived in the same neighborhood from, 2 to about 14.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with her. Elementary school up to middle school. When we went to high school, I didn't see her. come to find out, like 5 years later, when after I've gone to high school and whatever, she got pregnant, had a kid, and then decided to keep the welfare thing going, right? Because each kid you had gave you extra money.
Mhm.
So she had 4 different kids by 4 different fathers. She moved literally 5 project housing down from her mother, and all she did was gamble, and we need to stop that kind of shit.
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's gonna pass down to at least some of her kids. Like even if some of them escape that crap, one of them's gonna replicate it.
And when you look at the stats, one of the single greatest predictors for if someone gets in trouble with the law, gets addicted to substances, has abuse issues with their or domestic abuse issues, either being smacked around or getting smacked around, has trouble maintaining a job or getting an education, one of the single greatest predictors for all that shit is, do you have 2 parents? If the answer is no, you have less than 2 parents, yeah, you're going to end up in the category that's most likely to have those issues. If your answer is yes, you have at least 2 parents, suddenly your chance of any of those things happening massively drops.
Yep.
This is true for white, black, Hispanic, Asian, any goddamn color, creed, or appearance.
Yep. You want to hear? So that girl I told you earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's Asian, of course, but like you said, didn't matter, right?
Yep.
So another worse, even a worse story occurred when I moved to the second project housing we had, another Section 8 housing, right? So when I got there, there was this boy and a girl, one white, one black, adopted by this white elderly couple, I would say, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know why they adopted them?
Can't have kids.
Benefits?
Benefits.
Ah.
Yes. So the girl got raped by a biker, got pregnant, had a kid. They went to court and deemed the girl unfit to be a mother.
Mm-hmm.
Took the kid in and took the money from the what you call that welfare.
Yep, and he just dropped out. That was not me clicking him out. That was his connection just suddenly
Spadooshing.
committed on life.
The FBI got him.
But yes, we shall click him back in once he reappears.
It's a thing with poverty too. Is it does tend to bring out the worst in people? Because I can understand like an elderly couple being on low income, thinking, oh well, I could take in a kid, and some of them probably could. Some of them legit probably could, and I wish some of them would. But the problem is in our system we care more about abortions than we do about kids who are living. And
see, the thing is that
I hate saying that. Sorry.
I get driven crazy by the idea that an excess of money, a dearth of money, a excess of power, or diminished power say anything about the quality of a person. Because when you look at all 4 of those, those amplify characteristics. They don't cause
Create
characteristics.
Yeah.
I am pissed off by the number of times that I hear, well, money corrupts. Does it? Does it really? What is the method that money corrupts, because what it really seems to do is if someone is a scumfuck and they get money, they become an even bigger scumfuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If someone is an actually salt of the earth, decent motherfucker, they get money, and yeah, they're still a salt of the earth, decent motherfucker, only now their reach is a bit greater.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see that happen where someone will be a really fucking quality person. They'll start a business, their business will do well, and they start going, hey, my community needs a pool. I'm going to fund making a pool for my community, and I'm going to make it so that the cost to enter the pool is as low as it can possibly be, or just fucking free. And I'll foot the bill to maintain this pool. Hey, my community needs a better library. I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy a shit ton of books and I'm going to donate them to the library. And I'm also going to donate money in order to fix up the library. Make sure that it has enough shelves, has enough seats, everything's nice and clean and well maintained. You see that happen. It happens a fuck ton. And you see people that have power. And yeah, there's people that they get power and any sort of vice that they did not have controlled gets dialed up to 11. If the person was always a bit of a horn dog and then they get power, yeah, suddenly they're doing horrendous things to people in order to get their rocks off.
Well, because now they're protected by that money and power.
Exactly. If you have someone who was always a fairly short fuse and they get power, suddenly they're now exploding at people and tossing shit at them rather than just getting kind of loud and angry. Because, again, they're more comfortable in their power. If you have someone that has all of their vices under control and they get power, and again, they're just kind of salt of the earth, they tend to continue being that, only with a greater reach. If you have someone who lacks money, lacks money and lacks power, that doesn't make them good. The underdog is not by definition good. Sometimes the underdog is an asshole, and it's a good thing that they're an underdog. I'm sick and tired of the people that go, well, this side's bigger and stronger, so they have to be in the wrong. No, they don't. Sometimes it's the little spiteful son of a bitch that's causing the fight, not the big guy.
Not meaning to point any fingers, Ethan Klein. Sorry.
I agree with the sort of admin team, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that the money corrupts people. It's just like they're like when you are so impoverished for so long, right? Being poor, and when you get like the rush of money, you just want to do things that you always wanted, and it gets to your head. Like,
yeah, it's hard not to spend it, you know.
Yeah, look at all the athletes out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
The majority of them are bankrupt by the time they get to a certain age.
Yep.
Or like people who win the lottery, they don't know how to fucking maintain their money because they spend it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And 99% of the people who win the lottery end up bankrupt. There's a reason for that, because they don't know. They have that sudden rush, like you say, and then they don't know how to plan. They don't know how to fucking save their money, and then next thing you know, they're bankrupt again. You know.
Mm-hmm.
A dearth or a want of both power and money is always an amplifier. That's my view on it. It always just amplifies the character of the people. If you suddenly get money out of nowhere and you weren't good at maintaining money, which is why you didn't really have much, you suddenly get a fuck ton of money that you're still really bad at maintaining. Having more money doesn't make it so that you suddenly know how to handle it. If you are an asshole when you're poor, or you're an asshole when you're in perfectly middle, not really powerful, not really weak, not really wealthy, not really poor, you'll be an asshole of a higher degree if you go either poorer or richer. Because if you go poor, you give less of a damn. What do you have to lose? If you go richer, you give less of a damn. How the fuck are they going to take it from you? Both of them end up amplifying. Which is why you do have those stories of the ridiculously just kind and self-sacrificing poor person. The parables of the woman that gave the last coin, donated her last coin, shit like that. The gift of the Magi, where it's the poor couple and it's Christmas and they both give the thing that is the greatest value to them in order to provide a gift for the person that they care the most for. Those are ridiculously heartwarming stories about people that are in, or that were impoverished, or at least in the story impoverished, that are just good people. And despite being impoverished, despite having nothing, they give everything that they can. Bob Cratchit. Another good example of that sort of archetype. But you also have the same when you look at people that suddenly become wealthy. Or not even just suddenly become wealthy. People that become wealthy. Normally it's people that become wealthy through hard work. And they understand that going for immediate reward is not the way to go. And one of the things that the idea that there's two stories that the way that people interpret them piss me the fuck off because they're insanely wrong on the face of them. The idea that Robin Hood, he was robbing from the rich to give to the poor. No, motherfucker. He was robbing from the government that was taxing to give back to the people that made it. That was the story.
Yes, but the left has twisted it to the point where they say it's the rich, it's not the rich.
Yeah, which that was the part that pisses me off about that, because no, he gave to people that were abusing power, or he stole from people that were abusing power, and he gave to people that were being abused. That's an entirely different story than robbing from the rich to give to the poor. And the other one that drives me crazy is the interpretation of Christmas Carol, where they say, oh, see, Scrooge is clearly a representation of a standard wealthy person, especially a right-wing wealthy person. No. Because if you listen to what he said when he was casting out the people asking for charity, it was, am I not already paying for this shit through government programs? Because the workhouses, where do you think they got their funding?
The sheriff of Nottingham was the antithesis of fucking government over fucking reach.
Yep.
He's taking money from you.
Well, that was the thing. It wasn't even originally supposed to be the sheriff. It was the church that he was absolutely pissed off at because of the way they just like, nope, this is ours. Thank you.
Yeah, there are several different versions. This is one of the story. Pretty much every old story has a shit ton of different versions because the early mentions of Robin Hood or Robin Hood-esque character have him going against various groups. So there were the ones that he was going against corrupt church officials effectively, where they were really insisting that tithe be increased. You had other versions that it was the local shire reeve, which in modern way of phrasing is shortened to sheriff. You had others where it was more direct, he's against the crown.
Night, Prospero.
Yeah, have a good night, Prospero.
Hey,
And
Prospero.
most of the ones
Prospero.
that have him against the crown, they tend to place him at the time of King John, because King John is one of the 2 English kings that has never and will never have another king of his name by tradition. Yeah, there's only 2 kings that their name is completely just like, nope, we're not
Done
going
with
to...
this
You're that bad, huh?
Yeah, there's 2 of them. One is John. Do any of you happen to remember the other?
You mentioned it on another stream I was on, but I've forgotten. This has come up before.
Yep. I've brought it up several times. Stephen. John. Nope, it was Stephen. There's many Richards already.
But thing is, King John successor was John. Literally, the one that the folklore was based on for Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm.
His successor was literally John, who you're talking about. So,
No.
Was he the guy who was potentially like mentally handicapped? Because I know there was one of those that was potentially mentally handicapped, and they
There were
just
several.
they just didn't want to own it.
Yeah, there were a number of monarchs that were that way.
sorry,
And
there was a
Inbreed,
diversion. My apologies, that's Sanguine.
King John's successor was not John. His predecessor was his brother. Well, depending on how you look at it, his predecessor was one of his brothers or his father, because technically it went through 3 of his family very short order, because it was John's father was Henry II. Henry II ruled, then his eldest son and his second eldest son tried to rebel against him. And those were Richard the Lionheart was his second eldest son, and I believe it was Henry the Younger was his eldest son. So those 2 tried to rebel. He put down the rebellion. So things continued on for a bit. Then all 3 of his sons tried to rebel. He put down that rebellion. Things continued on for a bit. All 3 of his sons rebelled. He was deposed. He fucked off because he was deposed. And then his son, I think it was first Richard, was
first.
Yeah. Richard the Lionheart was the one who succeeded him. And then it was
John was succeeded Richard.
John. It was either John succeeded him immediately, or there was a very short period where it was their other brother edged in and then died. It was a very messy time, to say the least.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
Yeah.
Either way, we get
If
to
you
the
weren't
point.
being murdered by your own people, you were probably dying in war somehow.
Or
yeah,
from
John
the plague.
was succeeded, or
Yeah,
John
that too.
passed the throne, or the throne was passed from John to Henry III.
Henry II, I believe.
The third. Second was his father.
So
Oh, okay,
I
my
got a
apologies, yeah.
random question for you, just for the fun of it. If every single one of us could go to the past and sell some kind of modern garbage to our ancestors for the shits and giggles, what random crap would you bring? I'm torn between a lighter and a pen.
A computer.
A lighter would get you in far more trouble because, thatched roofs and wattle and daub construction. You flick that thing in the wrong direction and the entire city goes up.
The history discussion we have, that shit was enjoyable as shit. I just want to say that because there's something I thought it was the second, now it's the third, type of deal. Yeah, yada yada yada. Get my history a little bit off, but still, it's enjoyable. So,
if I had to choose one item to go back in time and show off to an ancestor, that would be difficult.
I shot off shotgun.
You're not trying to get burned as a witch.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an item that I wouldn't get fucked over for being a warlock. But
I think I
something
know
that would
exactly what I would bring, and I'm gonna share an image of this just because this thing is so fucking amazing.
Oh, no.
I would want it to be something impressive, but I would also want to avoid taking back an item that would cause my absolute mad lad of ancestors from just deciding, fuck it, let's go for the kingdom.
Well, you don't want to, piss off whole ancestors with giant dwarves now.
No, my ancestors would be like, oh, fried eye, okay.
Oh,
cool.
the entrenching tool. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it has everything, right? So
That's fair.
Because, yeah, I have ancestors that were completely fucking mental in the best possible way. I think I've told this story on air before. One of my ancestors, there was a time where the Marcher Lords, the lords that were in and around Wales, decided that they would rebel. At least most of them decided that they would rebel from the crown. My ancestor was one of the Marcher Lords. He was not one of the ones that rebelled. His neighboring lord, who he thought was an absolute fucking cock, was one of the rebelling lords. So he viewed this as a perfect time, an excuse to make a land grab. My ancestor called up his retinue, marched his retinue and a shit ton of stonemasons and builders into the other lord's land and built a castle a mile away from the other lord's castle.
Nice.
As he's building this castle a mile away from the other lord's castle, literally the other lord could look out of his castle and see another castle being built and was going, this son of a bitch. Decided, I'm not fucking having it, I'll see him off. So he went to go see him off. And he was beaten back. So he called up more men and he went to see him off. And he was beaten back. So he called up more men and he went, you know what? Fuck it. You're trying to take my land?
Watch
Fuck you.
this.
I'm going to go into your land because clearly you've brought too many of your men and your best are with you, which is why they're still kicking my ass when I tried to drive you out of mine. So fuck you. I'm going to your land and I'll take over that shit because
Swap.
God damn you. So he went over and tried to attack my ancestor's land. My ancestor had left his son, the next in line for my ancestors, in charge of their lands. That particular ancestor went, oh shit, they're trying to take our lands? Time for me to call up the levy. Saw off the other lord with the levy. The other lord, now having lost 2 battles against one ancestor, just with his retinue and fucking stonemasons and builders building a fucking castle a mile away from his castle, and also trying to invade my ancestors' lands, and realizing, nope, that didn't fucking work either. I had to go back and kind of go, okay, we're fucked. I can't really do anything to help the rebellion that I've already declared I'm a part of, because I have fuckers trying to steal my land and I can't do shit. What the fuck? And when the Marcher Lord Rebellion was put down, my family was awarded the land that we took by building a castle. So
Yeah, it's ours.
yeah, it was a... Wait, you kept loyal? You fucking stole one of the rebelling lords' lands? Sure, fuck it, you get to keep it. That's awesome. So that if I took something back, I'd need to make sure that it wasn't something that would then just make my ancestors go, it's ours now, fucking everything, we'll take it. Because
All right, so
those mad
no
sons of
firearms,
bitches.
no explosives.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm going, yeah, I can't do firearms, that would be a bad idea. Can't do explosives, that would be a bad idea.
Well, that's the thing with that multi-purpose tool. Like, I'd either have to like take it to the king and present it as a gift from God, and just hope that they don't like burn me at the stake. I might get away with that, you know, just present myself as some kind of saint and be like, "Here's a holy weapon or
Just bring back
tool."
medicine, you know.
Yeah, you know. But otherwise, they're just gonna steal it from me. You know, I'm gonna have to hide that shit and just use it on my own without anybody knowing about it. Otherwise, it's gone.
I think I have a good idea. So it's one item you said.
Mm.
A modern super steel sword or axe.
Mm. Yeah.
So that it's something that they will be going, look at the fucking shit that we just got. Well, it's not immediately, okay, we're going to invade everyone. Fuck it. Because they have one. They have one really badass weapon.
Well, I'm sure they've reverse engineering figure out how it's made, you know.
Oh, if it's
no. If you're talking modern like scandium or shit like that, no.
yeah,
not
especially
happening.
if we're talking the crucible particle metallurgy.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, CPM is not being reproduced in the Middle Ages. The closest that they would have to anything like that is true Woost, and also known as true Damascus. But at the time period that we're talking, the last of the true Woost would have been the Ulfbert swords in Europe, if I remember correctly.
No, later than that.
Oh, we had true Woost after. I could have sworn it was the Vikings had the last true Woost.
No. True Damascus, you're getting into the Third Crusade.
Okay, so they brought him back during the Third?
Not necessarily brought back, more of parallel evolution or convergent evolution. So the reason we call it True Damascus is because it is a particular formula that was developed in and around Syria. Yeah. So it was brought back by the Crusaders as, here's what these wild savages cooked up. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I know that.
How they did it, nobody fucking knows anymore because nobody wrote anything down. But right around the time of Saladin is when you get the last of what we would consider to be the true Damascus type steel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know the Ulfbert swords are all considered the true Ulfbert.
The true Ulfbert is a hybrid bloom steel. It's not. It's you get a Damascus pattern out of it, but it's actually metallurgically quite shit.
Are you sure you aren't thinking the knockoff Ulfbert? Because the true Ulfbert is proper crucible steel.
Right, but crucible steel is not Damascus. That's the thing.
I know it isn't necessarily, but they effectively, at least from what I remembered, they, in trading, ended up getting information on how to make it. So it was some of the best steel that was made in Europe for a long fucking time. Which is why the Ulfberts became so renowned and so sought after. Because it was something that would happen where an Ulfbert would go against a standard steel. So, Furry Kitten, there's a difference between modern Damascus and true Damascus. Modern Damascus is a folded weld steel.
It's just pattern welded.
True Damask was, now it's called Woost steel, if I remember correctly. or true Woost steel, and it's an entirely different beast.
Like, I have a fake Damascus steel knife right now. It's pretty good, but still.
Yeah. The modern Damascus and Damascus after the true Damascus / true Woost massively fell in quality.
Well, is the actual formula is lost to history. Nobody knows how to make true Damascus anymore. But you can replicate the look, and when you replicate that appearance, that pattern welded appearance with modern steels, you get to the metallurgical quality that was true Damascus.
Yes.
Without actually making true Damascus. It's weird.
Well, someone used laser etching to make it look Damascus too, so.
Yeah,
they can try, and I'll you smack them upside the head when they do it.
Yeah.
There's laser etched. There's the pattern weld and acid etch. There's a number of different approaches that people use in order to get that appearance. But the true Woost or true Damascus was an entirely different beast than modern Damascus. And if I remember correctly, there was a lab that was trying to figure out what the fuck was the difference, how they made it, and they dissolved a portion of Damascus in extremely interesting acids.
It's really funny that you say that, because I misheard that as uwu for a little bit there, like it was like uwu. That sounds like a very valid uwu.
But yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of uwu, it's past my bedtime. I need to go to bed. I gotta
work.
A startup. Yeah, I have to start up tomorrow. Well, I appreciate you letting me on, Sanguine. I appreciate everybody in the audience. I appreciate everybody in the conversation. Good night. Sweet dreams.
It was good talking to you, Cryptic.
Have fun.
Don't work too hard. Demand air conditioning.
But yeah, if I remember correctly, they dissolved a section of true Woost, and they found the presence of effectively nanocarbon tubes, which fucking awesome.
Nice.
Especially considering this is a bunch of people that had no clue what the fuck nanocarbon tubes were, but were apparently creating a metal that relied on nanocarbon tubes in order to get its properties.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I heard that as oomper. No, I did picture some Oompa Loompa porn. I was like, I'm gonna throw that idea. Even if I'm wrong, I'm gonna throw that idea at Monkey.
Somebody get Jen a damn vibrator already. Jesus Christ, thirsty woman tonight.
Oof, Bert. Not Oomph Bert.
Oof, Bert.
Wolf Bat.
Oh gosh, no! I just wish I had. I just wish I had the means to make that, so I can send it to Monkey.
But a lot of these very early steel techniques, they come about basically because of the change in what was used to fire the forge. We're no longer just burning wood. Now you're actually burning coal, which has a much higher carbon content and sucks oxygen out of whatever is around it like you wouldn't believe. Combine that with a little luck over the centuries, and voila. You've alloyed iron, and you didn't even plan to do it.
Well, isn't that a lot of technology? It's just like people were just kind of playing around with random shit and like, oops, oh, hey, check that out.
Well, some of it is they were aiming for item A and fucked up and got item B and went, ooh, I like that. Others was, I wonder what happens if I do this.
And some of it, you're just going, okay, how the fuck did you figure this shit out?
Yep.
What the fuck? Like, do you guys know one of the ways that they produce saltpeter?
Manure.
Not just manure.
I thought they use bodies and whatnot, or
No.
So, in order to produce saltpeter, one of the methods that they used was horse shit on dark earth that was pissed on by a guy who had consumed a vast quantity of alcohol, then buried in straw in more dark earth and left for several weeks for crystals to grow.
Huh.
Yummy.
Then they uncovered it and they harvest the saltpeter. How the fuck did someone figure out that chain of events?
Well, it's like how to figure out how to make alcohol out of honey, you know?
To be honest, yeah, go ahead.
No, I think it was more along the lines of they had a midden where they were dumping all of their animal waste, and they buried it, and the village moves for a little bit, and they had a need for more space, and somebody stuck a shovel in the ground and went, "Huh?
I think that's exactly right.
This used to be our shit pile."
Yeah, because if you look at where they do digs, that's exactly what they find. Is they do just kind of find random shit all in the same pile.
Yep. But yeah, just that approach, and then there's a modern day equivalent of that where I'm just going, okay, who the fuck allowed Drunken Bobby into the lab? What the fuck, people? Because they found out if you urinate on nanocarbon tubes, you generate a small amount of electricity. Who the fuck mixed nanocarbon tubes with piss?
Somebody who had way too much to drink.
Yeah.
But a fun fact, if you want easily produced saltpeter at your own home, rabbits.
Yep.
Any critter that has a very high amount of ammonia in their urine, combine that with their shit, and voila, after a couple of days, you will see white crystals form on their shit. That is saltpeter.
So cats as well, huh?
Yeah, cats as well. The problem is cats the thing is you can't bury the feces.
Oh.
So rabbits do not bury their waste.
Well, rabbits eat it if it's still wet. If it's dry.
If it's wet because they're deficient in some bacteria or proteins, whatever. They do it because they're sick.
Yeah.
If they're healthy and you get those nice firm little round pellets, they don't bury it. If they piss on that, after a couple days, it will turn white. That's saltpeter forming on the feces. Cats, because they bury their waste, it's very difficult to do it. If your cat doesn't, wait a couple days, it'll start getting white crystals to form on it, and that's saltpeter.
Mm-hmm. And then another one that it's the only way that I can imagine this chain of events happened was someone with a sadistic streak fucked up and trying to kill someone. Because you guys know what fugu is, right?
Yeah. Very careful going to Japan, folks.
Yeah, for those who don't know what fugu is, Japanese pufferfish is the common name of it. It contains a very specific neurotoxin, TTX, which is lethal to just a couple parts per billion. And yeah, they found out that if you cut the fish in one very specific way, it doesn't kill you. It tastes rather nice.
And you get a little tingling sensation on the tongue.
It kind of numbs everything.
So surprised about that, but you know what dolphins do with those things, right?
Yeah, they bat them around like volleyballs.
Because they get high. I figured the Japanese probably saw that and were like, there's got to be something to that. I mean, they're deadly as shit, but these things don't necessarily, like, they seek them out.
Yeah, but somehow, and like I said, the only way that I can figure is someone was just trying to kill people. And they cut the fish in a bunch of different ways, trying to kill a bunch of other people, or a bunch of different people. And they went, wait, how did that fucker survive? I cut it like this.
I think it was actually the inverse of that, though, Sanguine. I think it was they went fishing, brought everything in. Oh, this weird one. All right, well, fuck it. We're not going to let anything go to waste. And they got lucky a couple times, and on Tuesday was the new guy did it and killed a bunch of folks and went, all right. We don't let Joe cut that particular fish because he's a dumbass.
See, the only problem that I have with that theory is that it is literally one way to cut it where it doesn't kill everyone. Every other way, yep, everyone's dead.
Well, the poison is concentrated in only certain tissues. It's not throughout the entire fish.
Yep.
But if you nick that tissue, it just walk away.
Yeah. Which is why it slightly strikes me as it would be okay, need to kill this person, here's your execution. Kill this person, here's your execution. Here's your execution. Wait.
Hang on.
Hero, why didn't you die? Let me try this again. Hero, have that. You still didn't fucking... No. If I do it this way, here, Hero, eat that. Okay, now we're fucking done. Wait, if I cut it this way, it's fine? What the fuck? That's the way that it would make sense to me. And then, yeah, there's a whole bunch of weird Norwegian ones, like Furry Kitten mentioned Takarl, which is the Greenland shark, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Which you have to hang and let ferment for an extended period of time, or else the amount of, I believe it was ammonia, kills you stone fucking dead.
Mm-hmm.
You know, ammonia and bleach don't go mix together very well.
Well, because so all sharks do this, but for whatever reason, the Greenland shark and the Pacific sleeper, which is the exact same fucking species, just there's a continent in the way. They secrete their urine through their skin.
Yep.
So their flesh is permeated with concentrated ammonia.
Mm-hmm.
And these are sharks that, if you're catching one of any decent size, it's a couple 100 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So it's built up in their flesh for quite some time.
That makes me think it's an evolutionary thing, though. Because when it comes to like sharks, their biggest enemy is pretty much a whale at this point.
Except Greenland sharks live either extremely deep or under the ice, so whales aren't really a problem for them. What it is probably more likely is because it's these two species of sharks that are notorious for it. They're very cold water sharks.
Oh, okay.
Urea is a natural antifreeze.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense. Like I was thinking it was either to guard them from sharks, because like literally killer whales will go after sharks' livers.
Mm-hmm. Well, because the livers, yes, but these two sharks spend most of their time a couple 1,000 feet down.
Yeah.
Or under the Arctic ice.
Humans are a species with a death wish and just really shit at it in a good number of ways. Because look at the number of different plants and animals that have developed defense mechanisms that we just go, oh, isn't that lovely?
I
mean,
we're petulant. We're a petulant species. You don't just tell us no. You tell us no for long enough, and we figure out how to turn that no into a get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah, peppers are a perfect example, as Snowpilot just mentioned, jalapenos, because capsaicin is a defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking everything else goes, oh, that thing looks like it might be, oh, no, and it stops eating it. People went, that thing looks like it might be tasty. My mouth feels like it's on fire. I'll have another.
Well, it's like that lemur, that species of lemur that eats I think it's I can't remember what species of insect they are, but like it's looks like a millipede or a centipede of some kind, and they're super poisonous, and they just sit there eating it because it makes them high as shit. They don't stop either. They just like nom 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 as this thing is biting and poisoning them.
Yeah, and we figured out corn is in corn there's a shit ton of nutrients that you normally can't actually access. So you have to do a process called nixtamalization. Have you guys ever heard of nixtamalization?
Yes.
You're a cook. I can tell.
Jen, have you heard of it?
No, but I figure I probably should, because I like to think I cook.
Snowpilot, have you heard of it?
I have not, but if you describe the process, I might figure out what it is.
So, nixtamalization is the process by which you render pretty much every nutrient within corn actually digestible. And what you do is you start off with corn, then you boil it with either the ash from 2 or 3 different types of trees. They're the only trees that this works with. You can't just take any ash willy-nilly. It has to be from one of 2 or 3 different trees. Or bone. You boil those together for an extended period of time, and suddenly you can digest everything and you don't starve to death despite eating.
Yeah, could you break out all the nutrients out of the cages? So
Yep. So we figured out nixtamalization. We also figured out that there's things that you can eat rather easily, but you'll still starve to death eating them.
Yeah.
Like, you guys have all heard of rabbit starvation, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they don't have enough fat.
Mhm.
Yep.
Right kind of fat.
And there's a bunch of other things. There's a form of rabbit starvation that was with corn because it was something that certain groups of people, the natives in Mesoamerica, figured out nixtamalization. The Spaniards kind of went, shut the fuck up,
and took it. And
and started eating a shit ton of corn without doing nixtamalization. And a bunch of Spanish colonies started starving to death despite eating a fuck ton of corn, like the natives that were there who weren't starving to death. But what the fuck's the difference? And then they figured out, oh yeah, that thing that they tried to tell us, the nixtam... Oh, shit.
Whoops, forgot about that step. Well, and Furry Kitten points out a wonderful one. Mushrooms.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Pick the wrong one, you're not going to make that mistake again.
The vast majority of mushrooms will kill you stone dead.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 major
Someone gets you high
groupings.
first and then kill you.
Yep. There's 2 major groupings of mushrooms. One of them, all of them kill you. The other one, most of them kill you. Because, yeah, the 2 different major groupings are Agrarchus and Amanita.
The worst thing is
And-
you can't even trust other animals as a testing group either for that
Yep.
kind of shit. Because some animals have been eating them since the dawning of their existence. That's what they were bred for.
Well, so getting back to the wonderful thing about peppers, birds are completely immune to capsaicin.
Yep.
You can spray a frickin' sparrow face full of pepper spray and it go,
Mhm.
okay, smells kind of funny, but anyway, moving on. Because the peppers evolved with the capsaicin so that birds would spread the seeds,
Yep.
but mammals, which have different digestive systems and have a habit of actually completely digesting the seeds, will leave them alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, mushrooms are the Australian wildlife of plants.
Oh, yeah. The
Uh-huh.
vast majority will kill you stone dead, and the ones that won't kill you stone dead and the ones that will kill you stone dead look almost the fucking same.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Which is why don't just buy a mushroom guidebook and go, oh, I can tell the difference between mushrooms now. No. If you
No.
want to start mushrooming, what you have to do is you have to get the guidebook, study the ever-living fuck out of the guidebook, then find a local mushroom forager / mycologist and go out with them.
or just go to the grocery store and buy them. You know.
That works. That's your best bet.
That's not foraging for the mushrooms, so that defeats what I
I
started.
don't know. You've been in the grocery store lately? It kind of is.
But yeah, if you do that, then you can actually learn, oh yeah, these are the environments that this one's in. These are the environments that that one's in. If I ever see a mushroom that has an annulus, I know, nope. Fuck this. Because if it has an annulus, it's an Amanita. Like I said, all Amanita will kill you. Every single fucking one of them. Most of them have very colorful names, like Death Leopard. Literally, one of them is called Death Leopard. The Deadly Angel. The Angel of Death. The Weeping Deadly Angel. Most of them have deadly, or death in the name. in the common name, because, like I said, all of them kill you stone fucking dead.
And then there are your local herbs, some of which, taken in moderation, are actually quite beneficial. Others, not so much.
And a lot of
And-
which need processing that people don't understand happens before
So-
they even get it.
Yep.
So, fun fact, the old cure for somebody who accidentally ingested wolfsbane
Mhm.
or was suffered from aconitum poisoning, mandrake root,
Mhm.
which on its own, in anything over a certain dose, will also kill you stone dead. By it's basically natural speed. Your brain goes haywire, your nervous system basically shuts down, and you die.
Mhm.
However, it is such a powerful stimulant, and aconitum poisoning is such a powerful paralytic, they counteract each other.
Mhm.
Anybody know where mandrake shows up in popular culture, and what it's
Mhm.
and what it's meant to cure?
Wolfsbane poisoning?
For werewolves.
It's in
Sorry.
Harry. It's in Harry
Yeah,
Potter.
Harry Potter.
That's the
Mhm.
accent I was kind of trying
Yes,
to go for.
it's in Harry Potter.
I only read the first book. Don't like it.
And it
It's just the
was
second one.
to cure the paralysis caused by basilisk
Yep.
that didn't kill a person with its gaze.
Yeah.
If you look at a lot of these old herbs, if you do not have aspirin or anything like that, willow bark is a wonderful substitute. As is
Tincture or
marigold.
tea.
As
You
is
know-
marigold. Matter
On
of fact, I was actually at a health food store not too long ago with my wife, and you can buy calendula supplements.
Mhm.
It's marigold. That's all it is. It's just freaking marigold oil. That's
Yeah,
it.
and as I've said many times before, everything is a poison. It's the dose that makes the poison.
Mhm.
For anyone that isn't familiar with what that phrase means, it's the dose that makes the poison means that, yeah, there's a bunch of things that at a low dose, not deadly. At a moderate dose, makes you a bit sick. At a heavy dose, kills you stone dead. There's some things that at a very small dose, kills you stone dead. There's other things that you have to have an absolutely monstrous amount before it'll kill you stone dead. There's something called water intoxication, sometimes also known as water poisoning.
Mhm.
And that's when water becomes lethal because you've completely washed everything out of your system effectively. And you start slurring, you start seeming like you're drunk despite, you've just been drinking water. Stone dead. There's
Yep,
a shit ton of things that in a certain dose can be healthy. In another dose, no effect whatsoever. In a larger dose, you're fucked.
Well, I can assure you, Keever Dan, that if you eat too many stones, you will definitely die.
Mhm.
Yep. I mean,
Yeah, but
shit.
for-
Even things that you don't normally think of as things that could be poison. How many people are worried that they could poison themselves with their iron supplement?
I don't take one, so I'm not.
Yeah, it's not so much the iron supplement, it's everything else that you might be doing alongside the iron supplement that can overdo that. But I'm not worried about myself because I don't have that
Yep.
problem.
Most people don't think about iron as something that is deadly. At least not in the form of an ingestible iron. They don't really go, oh my god, this could kill me. Dying from iron poisoning is one of the most horrendous types of death that you can possibly imagine. Because the way that iron poisoning works is you've consumed too much iron. The iron starts to fall out of solution within your body. You guys have all made rock candy before, right?
Mhm.
You know how it forms crystals?
Yeah. Iron
Yeah.
forms a crystalline structure.
Iron forms a crystal in your body. A fuck ton of them. Moving about through your blood vessels. You have caltrops being pushed through your body. shreds the fuck out of you. Really nasty. A lot of people don't think of vitamin D as something that you can overdose on. Any of you ever had sun poisoning?
No.
I think
heat
you
stroke.
mentioned it last time, but I actually
Yep.
do think I might have. Because I did notice that I did have a rash from being in the sun.
Yeah.
It wasn't a
Fucking
burn.
blotchy.
I'm like, that wasn't a burn.
Yeah, if you get a rash that raised itchy bumps
Mm-hmm.
on your hands, arms, wherever you're exposed to sunlight from being out in the sun too long, that's called sun poisoning.
Oh.
What sun poisoning is caused by is your body develops a lethal level of vitamin D. Or not an entirely lethal. It's developing a toxic level of vitamin D. That's a more accurate way of phrasing it. And it starts reacting poorly to your body. So you start developing a rash. That's the warning sign. You get the fuck out of the sun. You stay out of the sun until that rash fades, and then you stay out of the sun for a bit longer in order to let your body actually process the vitamin D. Because if you get sun poisoning, it's your body's producing vitamin D in too large of a quantity, and your body isn't able to use the vitamin D at a sufficient rate.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of crab crawling alongside the whatever shade I've got, just because the suntan lotion doesn't necessarily stop that. It really doesn't.
Yeah, you need really high SPF, and this is something that I know I mentioned last time. The idea that, everything above 35 SPF is all the same. There's no point in buying it. Shut your lying mouth. Because that's not true. The thing is that for the average person, you probably top out around 35, maybe 45 SPF is the highest that you need. So everything past that, it doesn't really have an increased effect because you already get the maximum effect at that 35 or 45. But if you're a pale motherfucker, if you're like me and you're borderline at the point where you could get moon burns, then no. That's horseshit. Give me the 100+, you son of a bitch.
What's a bit weird about it is I get it on the shoulders, but I don't get it on the legs. Like the last couple of days, just because it's been swelteringly hot, I've been enjoying the fact that as a lady I can wear a skirt. I don't blame you guys for wanting to wear a skirt sometimes. But the thing is my legs don't have that problem. Like they actually do tan, but my shoulders, if my shoulders or my arms or my head is actually the one that I take the most care with because I'm a blonde, so the scalp will burn.
Yeah, the legs experience a lot more shifting light than the rest of the body.
Yeah.
And also your leg skin. The skin as you go down your body tends to be a bit thicker.
Tougher. Yeah.
And tougher because guess what you walk on?
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
I used to know somebody who she used to walk around on the dirt roads barefooted, called rubber foot. So.
Yeah. Your feet can become rather rugged if you go without shoes for a period of time.
Just don't do what I did my first summer here and walk on the asphalt. Take the trash out and walk on the asphalt barefoot.
Oh no!
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good way to burn. Yeah, no.
Yeah, secondary burns on the bottom of my feet for about a week. I was
nice.
fun.
And that's why you don't take dogs out for walks on hot days.
Yeah, it's the
That
thing
too.
I can appreciate. I can appreciate the gravel road because if you know the gravel road and it's safe, like it's relatively safe for the ground, they're nice to walk on in the summer. Like they,
It's nice and cool.
Night, Sora.
Yeah, surprisingly, it's just I don't trust most places anymore just because people are filthy.
Yeah, broken glass everywhere.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
I did just notice it is about that time, and we
Yeah,
are
I
kind of-
definitely need to bail.
Yep, and we are kind of winding down on the conversation, anyways.
So,
So,
Sanguine, did you want to show the kiddos the pictures I sent you?
sure, if you want
All
me
right.
to
Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
display those, let me.
While you're doing that, I would just like to point something out that I learned this week. So I learned that the Basilisk and the Cockatrice and the Phoenix all probably have a lot in common because historically speaking, they might actually just be talking about a hooded snake. So I took that and then I kind of looked at Harry Potter and I was like, out of context to an ancient person, does it kind of look like everything in book 2 is fighting itself?
Yeah.
I love our generation.
Nice.
Or if you're a Witcher, you look at book 2 and go, fuck.
Just pulling up the things all in a different window so that I can share them most easily. But yeah, while I'm doing this, I'll also mention that, again, there is going to be a scheduling change in the next couple weeks. Not 100% sure when it'll kick in. It might be a week or 2 weeks yet. But I am no longer going to be Wednesdays. Instead, one of our old keepers, in fact, our very first keeper, One Ton Hammer, is going to be taking over on Wednesdays. And he's going to be doing a show with JenTMaxi and Terry Diamantis. It's going to be the 3 of them every week. Occasionally they might have on a special guest, but for the most part it's just going to be the 3 of them. With Prospero having stepped down as of last week, that means that Thursdays are going to become our wildcard day. And Fridays, after I vacate the Wednesday slot, are going to become mine. So it will be the One Ton Hammer, Terry Diamantis, and JenTMaxi on Wednesdays, Wildcard Thursdays, and then Sanguine Fridays. I'll keep reminding you guys until such time as it does actually tick over and it is all said and done. That way no one is surprised when the transition does happen. So I have all 4 of the images that you wanted me to share up. Do you want to describe what each one is and shill?
So I'm still not taking commissions, but I did mention the last time I was on with this crew that I had started getting into leatherworking, and I have been busy over the last 2-3 months. So this is a little collar I made for my sister's dog, her older dog, Ted. That is a 5-ounce veg tan with a liner of 3-ounce suede. Everything is hand stitched, hand cut. A couple little journal covers for my wife's best friend. Those are everything I do is veg tan and hand stitched. So these are sized for standard like Moleskine type little journals.
Click over to the next.
This is one of.
Go ahead. No. Well, it's just JB's got this thinking in my head about that leather belt, and I'm only saying this because I'm teasing Pixie with affection in mind, but I'm glad it's for a dog. I actually have an order for a collar.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm not judging, so you know.
It's not for Pixie. It's for a friend of ours, but I have an order for a collar. She asked for a choker, and she starts describing. I'm like, so you're basically talking about a collar? Yes. I'm like, okay. This is one of 4 belts I did for my folks. My mom got 2, my dad got 2. One black, and then one with the dark brown here with the antique brass hardware. These are 9-ounce veg tan with a 3-ounce suede liner to keep the dye from rubbing off on pants because they live in Florida and walk around in light colored shorts all fucking day. And dye rub off is a bad thing. And then this, and fortunately I can show it here because none of y'all are on my social media, and nobody here knows my mother-in-law, so I'm not spoiling her birthday present. This is so we went halvesies on a new tablet with my sister-in-law for our mother-in-law, and I made a cover for it. So this has all of the things she needs. You have a little pocket there for the charger brick and the charging cable, and on the inside is a little caddy for the stylus. Even though I fucked up and made it too tight to actually completely seat the stylus in there, it'll hold it. And then that's partially lined with suede, with a little loose flap of suede, so it'll protect the screen. There's pockets on the inside for loose papers and stuff for her notes, for her cross stitch patterns.
Very nice.
So I have been busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if Kefkers is still here. I have not forgotten your project. It is the next thing on my list, sweetie.
Hug.
Click off the share. So, do you want to leave off with that as your final words, or do you want to toss out some additional?
I am good with that.
Copy that. Jen, you want up next?
Wow, that's mean. But okay. Well, I don't really have a lot to say other than I will be joining One Ton Hammer in the next couple weeks on that, and I'm actually looking forward to that. But I have to remember to start rewatching Old Lords of the Night just so I can get some more inspiration, and I'm not sure how that's gonna go. I'm gonna do the best I can and have a lot of fun with it, but I'm like, I don't know, a lot of shit's going on up here. So I'm like, I hope every time I'm on, it's not some like, oh, geez, they found another 200 dead kids up here. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Our government's kind of disgusting. But other than that, I'm doing really good. And I'm making like an ice cube and I'm melting. Your turn, Jason.
Well, you know me. I want to say have fun, because what point of living if you're having fun? But nothing else now. I don't have any videos planned out right now. I got some things to work out.
10 million videos on ice cream, which you probably have already made, but make more.
I made a few ice cream videos already, so yeah.
And I'll leave off with my standard of if you're passionate about something, make sure that you devour it. Don't let it devour you. And with that, have a good night all. The zoo is closed.
Have fun.
Laters.
Have fun, guys. Also, watch Jason if you like ice cream, because, like, that, who doesn't? And it's hot as fuck.